All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. It's Joe Choir Live. We are back. It is March 29th, 2015, and I am sitting on the only remaining piece of furniture in my apartment, which is my bed. So, sorry if that's weird. Um, we've been having some technical difficulties. I've been trying to get this video software all put together and I just couldn't get it to fly. So I apologize. I've got one of our scholarship winners, Mr. Connor Hall, is with us, and he submitted this awesome video. And I'm so bummed that I can't play it on the show, but we will tweet a link to it here in just a second. But we are also here with my co-host, as always, Mr. Adam Peters in Iowa City, Iowa. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I love that you only have one piece of furniture left. That's awesome to hear.
That's it. My computer desk is gone. My chair is gone. Um, my couch is gone. I guess I have beach chairs left.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can't really get the setup going with that.
Yeah,
So
for those people who just started watching the show tonight, which I'm sure is many, Alex is moving cross country in less than 6 days. So that's exciting.
yeah, so Saturday the big drive happens. I'm going to pick Adam up in Des Moines, and he's gonna be my navigator here. And what'd you do this weekend? I have no idea what you did this weekend.
I just kind of chilled. I worked a little bit, no show choir. I stayed up to date with Nashville results. It was kind of a chill, just regular weekend before another kind of crazy 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Did you watch the Nashville live stream at all?
I actually didn't. I had the opportunity to watch some of the groups, but I knew I was going to miss some of the other groups, so I didn't want to see only half, and I'm kind of really weird about that. Also, I'm really weird about watching groups on video that I can't see live.
Right.
So that's really strange, I know, but I'm just really OCD about that kind of stuff.
I get it. I
I
get it.
chose not to watch all because I couldn't watch view.
Mr. Connor, what'd you do this weekend?
Um, Nothing really. No, sh no
Good.
show choir. So what is there to do?
So Connor is a sophomore at Marysville High School, and just tell us a little bit about what Marysville has been like, what Swingers Unlimited has been like this year, what's it been like to be in the group, and tell us a little bit about the show. Yeah, take it away.
Well, I mean, it's really cool because I was in the middle school show choir, the Mini Swingers. So I was in that for 2 years, and we always would watch the older high schoolers, and we're always like, oh my gosh, they're amazing.
Right.
And so once you're in it, we were really nervous when we were freshmen because we felt like we had to perform at such a high level. So we would always be paying straight attention to Mr. A, listening as much as we could, and always practicing your and Randy's moves whenever we were at a break. And then
That's what he wants to hear, right?
and I mean, last year we had a great season. I think we got our record of grand championships, which is 5, I think.
That's a
So that
lot.
was really cool coming in as a freshman. And then this year, so far, we still have one more competition left in Fame Chicago. Well, I guess Fame Nationals, which is in the Chicago, which is where Fame was for
Hmm.
Chicago.
Yep.
But I mean, so far we have 4 grand championships, which is still pretty awesome. Just being a sophomore, having 9 medals hanging up in your room.
Yeah, that's dude.
Wow.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your video, and then I am gonna post that to our Twitter so people can check it out because it really, I think, you know, a lot of people were really impacted by it when we saw it. So tell us a little bit
Mm.
about the video and how you put it together and what inspired it.
Well, it wasn't actually my first draft, kinda. My original idea was to have a GoPro, and then I was gonna go through a competition. I think I was thinking of Twinsburg because that was just the best time to do it. And I was gonna ask, like, what I had in the captions in the video. I was gonna have people say that kind of stuff, or just talk about what show choir is to them, because I mean, there's so many people. I kind of wanted to see what everyone thought, not just me. So that I forgot my GoPro camera. So,
typical high schooler.
Well, you know what? It worked out really well.
Yeah. We have a Facebook group that all the parents usually post really funny pictures of from the competitions. So I asked people to like send me some, and I just put it together on iMovie, added some background music and some captions, and I put in one of the GoPro videos that I had.
Cool.
And
well, to me the best part about it was you just put things together in such an honest way, and you're like, yeah, I just put some captions, but really it was really impactful, and I loved it. So I'm gonna tweet a link to that in just a second, and you can hang tight. I think Adam's got some results, maybe not the full marathon of results, but some results.
Yeah, and I just want to say too, Connor, like I really also agree with Alex. It was really honest, but it also like kind of just captured your show choir like at heart. Like it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like this is us. It was just like very, very cool, and yeah, it was really neat. So good job, man. All right, so yes, this week is not a marathon. Go me. Let me figure out which one we got first. Here we go. Kickitan. 4th place, Martinsburg. 3rd place, Midlothian. And a tie for 1st place. Fairfield tied with Hanover, who I think Hanover got best vocals and best band, but it was a tie for 1st. So that's really weird and really cool. Congratulations to both groups.
Fairfield, Indiana, yeah. It's Fairfield, Indiana, yeah.
It is?
Yeah, because Fairfield, Ohio won at a different contest.
They did?
And all 3 Fairfield groups won, actually, Ohio, this week.
What contest did they go to?
I will find that out for you.
Please do, because I do not have that. I apparently just was sleeping or something.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Fame Chicago, where Mr. Alex Hall was judging this weekend. 4th place, Castle. 3rd place, Manchester. 2nd place, Northridge with Best Band. And 1st place with Best Vocals and Best Choreography, Fort Atkinson. Shout out to Abraham. That's awesome. Alex, what do you think of their show?
I loved it. Really creative, cool theme, cool costumes, and best of all, really, really cool song selection. I want to put all those songs on a playlist. It was really, really smartly done, and congrats, guys. It was awesome.
They're having a lot of success this season, which is awesome to see. But I can attest that their song lists usually are pretty cool every single year. Craig Engstrom has a really good. I mean, he's an eclectic guy who likes good music, so it's really cool to see. I'm sorry that we keep talking in between each result. Sheridan, 5th place, Whitehall Yearling. 4th place, Alliance. 3rd place, Matoaka Girls. 2nd place, Southwestern with Best Choreography. And 1st place, Matoaka with Best Vocals and Best Band. Out in New Mexico at the Show Fest, 3rd place, Cleveland. 2nd place, El Dorado. 1st place, La Cueva with Best Vocals and Best Choreography. And last but not least, the Show Choir Nationals. 6th place, Mount Zion Swing Stations. 5th place, Hastings with Best Band. 4th place, Finley, first edition. 3rd place, Buffalo Grove. 2nd place, Center Grove with Best Choreography. And with the win, Glenwood with Best Vocals, Titan Fever. I was going to start the show and say, man, Alex, I had a fever this weekend, a Titan fever. Yeah.
And the only prescription was more Guimar.
Was more Heath and every Guimar, because they're all involved in that show.
So Alex Wampler is telling me that is Fairfield, Ohio. So you were.
I knew it was Fairfield, Ohio, and I felt awkward when you said it was Indiana. because that's
Well, I
Fairfield
was
Fusion
I
in
was
the.
asking. I was asking. Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
oh, you were? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Shane Coe, we texted about it this morning saying a tie, you just don't see that much anymore for first place. The last first place ties I remember are like Cedar Rapids Jefferson tying Urbandale in 2004, and before that, like Cedar Rapids Jefferson tying Clinton Attaché in 1997. That just is nerdy, so.
And you're gonna sink back into your nerd shell.
Sorry about that. So choir back boys.
Oh
So yeah,
man.
that's cool, and yeah.
Uh, well, I feel like before Christina hangs up on us for getting weird over here. Um, so our special guest tonight is one of my really, really great friends, and it's great to have her on. Her name is Kristina Sims. She is a choreographer and co-director and founder of Wichita Flight, which is an all-city show choir. That meets extracurricularly, and this year was their very first year, and we're very excited to hear about all of her experiences. And she also is a fifth grade teacher. So on top of all of that, she's a fifth grade teacher. So, hi, Christina, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm sorry I didn't get to really chat with you before the show because I was running around.
There's a lot going on. It's okay.
It's just a little bit spazzy over here today with everything being torn up and software issues, and I'm literally sitting on my bed and my knees are running to this dresser and I'm losing the feeling in my right foot. It's going well.
It's dramatic.
And he's got a laundry list of problems out there in Chicago.
Oh Lord. So, Christina, why don't you tell us how you got involved in show choir?
Oh, okay. I kind of just stumbled into it. I went to my high school. We did some singing and dancing at the same time type stuff, but I definitely wouldn't call it show choir. And so then I ended up at Butler Community College in the Butler Headliners under Valerie Mack. And when I was there, that was kind of my first introduction to what show choir is. And then they had a camp that had gone on for years, and I ended up on staff of that camp. And for people who don't know, that's how I met Alex, is at that camp. And then that was kind of my introduction to show choir, was just through that world. So it's not something I grew up doing or anything like that.
So, what do you think the biggest difference is in how you view show choir now versus maybe what you thought of it, like first coming into it, first stepping into it, or maybe like when you first started at the camp in Wichita?
Oh gosh, everything is the answer. Everything's different. I had no idea what this world was like until really this year. I think probably just the nuances of everything that goes into, I mean, at camp, the kids learn 4 numbers, and so the process of that is probably pretty similar, and in terms of choreography and what it looks like, that's probably relatively similar as well. But the whole design package of picking songs, having things arranged, costuming, things like that were all totally new this year. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. Tell us about your dance background and kind of how that has kind of influenced your path as well, because not only did you do all the groundwork and organizational work, or a lot of it, but you were also the choreographer for the group. So how did you start in dance, and what's your experience with that?
My mom's a middle school choir teacher, and when I was growing up, she directed a community children's choir, and that's probably when it all started, because we have videos of me as I'm 2 years old, and watching those, I think it was like maybe a 4th through 8th grade group, and they were doing little choreography, and I would just be mesmerized in front of the screen watching the choreography and trying to learn it, and that's probably where everything started. And then I danced on and off throughout probably from when I was about 8 through my junior-ish year of high school. And in the meantime, I was doing a lot of music theater growing up. I did a lot of music theater. And when I was 14, I think, I was asked to do my first number for a choir. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I did it. And kind of from there, I started getting shows. So I did like my first full musical when I was 16. And just kind of kept saying yes to things and not having any idea of what it was supposed to be or how it was supposed to be. It's not really a path that I ever chose. I just kind of fell into it and kept learning along the way, and then here I am.
So one of the biggest questions that I wanted to ask was what kinds of challenges, maybe even in a social context, did you run into building a show choir in a place that it does not exist? Show choir exists in Wichita, but for those of you that don't really know the situation down there in Kansas, why don't you explain the situation of show choir and of competition in Kansas?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask this, and I meant to go back and look at all of my emails from the athletic directors so that I had the exact terminology, and I forgot. So I'll do my best.
Wing it.
Ooh, I was going to be so prepared, and I just forgot. I got distracted. Okay, so in Kansas, oh, I hope this is right. You can be rated, but you can't be ranked, and so therefore competitions can't exist here. And they do it for the reason of educational purposes and wanting a better chance for everybody, and not saying like, oh, this is the best and you're the worst, which is understandable to an extent, but it also obviously provides problems. So there's that restriction, and then there's also a restriction, I believe, about how far out of state you can travel in order to compete. So there, for example, Atchison, Kansas, has a competing group, but they're closer to a lot of things, and so I'm pretty sure that probably has a factor in it. Where we are, it takes a long time to get to any sort of competition nearby, and so because of that, most vocal programs aren't going to want to do a competition type thing and have to organize around all of that, because it's just really challenging, because you're not going to get a lot of feedback on it. And we've got a lot of really great vocal programs going on in Wichita and the surrounding areas, but they can kind of do what they do without it being a show choir. So that's kind of how we realized that there was a lack of that here, and how the idea of doing a community-based thing sort of started.
Because essentially, because of the school, is it the music association rules? Music association rules, or
Athletic, right?
Athletic. So because of that groundwork, it can't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And
or it's not. I hate saying it's not worthwhile, but in a way, it's not worthwhile to jump through the hoops to make it exist.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
wouldn't last long.
So when
basically, you're doing all the hard work to make it happen.
Yeah, more or less.
You're the Joan of Arc of show choir.
I don't know about that, but.
So then what were some of when you brought this up to people, and, because they clearly have a basis of understanding at least of what show choir is, because Valerie Mack would put on the festival every fall, and I came and clinicked that one time, and, there were, I don't know how many groups, 30, 20, it was a long day, in a good way. Like it just there was a lot of groups involved, and not a one of them was competing.
Right.
So when you bring up to these schools that have a show choir but not a competitive show choir, and you say, hey, we're going to have this all city group, what kind of response did you get from the kids? What kind of response did you get from people, from directors?
Um, I I didn't get a lot of response from directors necessarily. I didn't receive a lot of opposition, but it was kind of something I had sent mailers and emails and all sorts of things out to pretty much all of the local schools, and I really didn't hear back from anybody on anything, regardless of if they liked it or didn't like it. So I just kind of went for it. And one of the things that was really beneficial for this past year is I did everything I possibly could to avoid conflicts, which meant that we rehearsed on Sundays because it avoided not only school commitments, but also we've got some really strong youth theater programs around here, and it avoided all of their conflicts as well, which in turn ended up being really difficult for us. But in doing flight, I don't ever want to pull kids out of the programs that they already have going at their schools, because I think that's a detriment to what is happening with music here in Wichita. And the goal of flight is to enhance the music scene here and be able to train those kids in a different way and then push them back into their schools where they can take that information. So I don't want to detract from what's already going on. So as far as other educators go, I definitely didn't have opposition, but I don't think that, people didn't know what it was because I didn't really know exactly what it was going to look like either. So since then, I've had several people really be encouraging about it and encourage their kids to try out. I think it's one of those things that you kind of have to prove that you're going to be true to your word, because a lot of times people expect the worst, and so they don't expect people to say, hey, I'm really not trying to screw up your programs, and then follow through on that. And so I think since we've had a year of that being truthful, it's building on itself. So I'd say the biggest thing was just a lot of uncertainty of what is this going to be, what is it going to be like. I wish I would have recorded our very first informational meeting to see people's faces. They did not know what was going on. I felt like I didn't know what was going on either. So it's been an interesting journey in starting it and getting people to just even a little bit understand what's going on.
Right, because the difference between competing and not competing, and traveling and not traveling, and putting together a show that's going to, be at a certain competitive level, and logistically, and the costumes and the money, and it is a different world, and it, because it was never there, it's tough to say this is going to exist because they've never seen that happen before.
And the other two things that go right along with that is, one, I'm really grateful for the parents that I have and how much they trusted me, because they hadn't seen anything until our preview show in January. And so they were putting money in, they were putting time in, and just letting me do it, which was huge. And then the other thing that's really unique about being a community-based group in a city where this doesn't happen is that even now we have a handful of parents that were able to go with us or meet us at competitions. But other than that, the kids now have a feeling of what it's like, but the community still doesn't, and they probably just won't. So whereas, we were shocked when we went to our first competition, and it was like a sporting event where all of these families were out, and people had T-shirts, and it was crazy. And we were like, what is happening right now? And yeah, our families just don't have that opportunity. So it's like we went out and did all of this stuff and came back, and the parents and the community and people who are asking have been so supportive, but they're just seeing things through pictures and through words of mouth.
So my computer cut out for like 3 minutes, about 10 minutes back. I don't know if Alex already asked this, but how many high schools in the area are you pulling from for your group?
13
13 high schools.
for
Wow.
this year.
So that's just a handful of kids from each school, though, right?
Yeah, I have one. My biggest chunk came from a school that I've been, well, it's where I graduated from also, but I've been there forever, and so those kids knew me and knew what was going on, and that's my music director. That's where she teaches, and I had 13, I think, from that school, and so that was a pretty big chunk, and then everywhere else had 4, 5, 1, 2. I have one girl who drives an hour one way to come to rehearsals, which is insane and awesome, especially when it's a 6 a.m. rehearsal on a Saturday, and she'd still be there.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, actually. What were some of the advantages and disadvantages of having kids from all different schools?
Oh, we'll start with the disadvantages. The biggest disadvantage is scheduling. Was truthfully awful. And I'm already making changes on our rehearsal process. None of the flight kids know that. Hi, flight. It's going to be different next year. Making big differences on how we rehearse and when we rehearse to try to ease that up a little bit. But when you have kids who are so involved, because as is true with most choirs, it's the best kids that you can find who are super involved in everything. Imagine how difficult it is scheduling all of those rehearsals and things like that with one school, and then try doing it with 13 and still trying to get people there. That was a big challenge, and along with that, since we were once a week, if you miss 1 week, that's a huge amount of time to not be with people and not with your group, and or we had a couple that were snowed out, things like that, and then you end up missing for 3 weeks in a row. That was really hard, and then the vocal aspect of it especially was difficult. Dancing not so much because we don't have trained dancers or anything, so they were just learning once they got there. But vocally, they're all from different schools that all have different processes and all have different trainings, and so trying to get them to have the same sound and to develop that, they sounded night and day different than when we started the first couple months. I can say that because they know it. We were really concerned what was going to happen because we couldn't get them vocally to mesh, and then it happened.
What was the original sound then? Because I was lucky enough to see it at the end of the season. Was it just like everyone for themselves, like Broadway star, like solo singing?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I did not sense that at all. It was they sound so wonderful
astronomically throughout the year. So thank you. But yeah, we weren't matching vowels. We weren't breathing correctly. It was really a struggle, but they grew leaps and bounds, and it's nice to kind of have that starting place now, because who knows what the group will look like next year, but you at least have some kids who will hopefully be auditioning again who have that knowledge that they'll be able to bring back.
What were the kids' reactions at their first competition? Like, what were some of their reactions when they're first stepping into Oz, to use a Kansas metaphor?
Good.
For the first time. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What were some of their reactions to that? Because that's a big jump.
Oh gosh. Our first competition, again, I wish somebody would have been making a documentary of this year because it would have been brilliant. So our first competition was so funny and interesting because it was seriously the blind leading the blind, because I had never been through that aspect either, so it's not like the director knew totally what was going on. So we were just kind of going with it, and thankfully Flight is the most easygoing group of wonderful kids you'll ever meet, so they're fine, like they'll go with whatever. But probably my favorite moment of the first competition is they had an interesting setup of leaving all of the band equipment, and then you just had to keep moving it after every group. It was like moving in a circle almost until you got up there. So we had a couple kids who were in there doing that. The rest of us didn't really know what was going on, but we were dressed and did our warm-up, and we'd never been to a warm-up room. So we were like, oh, we get to run our show now? Cool. Okay. Like, do you run your show full out, or do you mark it, or I don't know, okay, we'll figure that out as we go. So we ran the show, and then we got in there and got backstage, and there were dads who were helping run the thing as is usual, I guess, and it was a timed one. And so there's this dad talking to me, and he's like, okay, so you guys, everybody's doing okay? Are you ready to go? And I'm like, I guess, I hope so. And he clicks the timer, and he was like, okay. And we all had no idea what was going on. And I was like, oh, gosh, I guess, okay, go set up. We knew what sides of the stage that they were going in on, so go? Question mark? I don't know. So the next thing you know, they're on stage, they perform, they're off stage, and nobody had had a moment to just prepare and say, like, now we're going on stage. Oh, now we're doing our show. It just happened so fast, and I had given the okay to go without knowing that I had said go. So I was still, like, backstage as they were walking on to start, and yeah, it was pretty funny. So that was our first.
You guys were the first to perform at that competition too, right? In the afternoon, like the first series of. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember back that far. Yeah, but that was good, and it was awesome for a first experience out, and then they got to see some other groups, and I don't know. That's a really hard thing to explain, what it's like to be in a group and never have seen other groups. I encourage them to watch, some different groups on YouTube and stuff like that, but some of them did, some of them didn't. Since we aren't from a state that has a show choir world and kind of what happens there, it's been really interesting to jump states and find out, oh, this state values this, oh, this state values this, oh, this is what this state looks like. So we got 3 totally different experiences every time we went out, which was really fun and unique.
Tell everyone what states you went to.
We were in Missouri first, and then we went to Nebraska, and then we were in Iowa.
And what high schools were you at there?
We were at Rockbridge, and then we were at Elkhorn South, and then we were at Cedar Rapids, Jefferson.
And Adam, why don't you tell about your group and Kristina's group at Jefferson?
Well, first off, she is right, they are the sweetest kids in the world. They came up with this basket of goodies to me, and they're like, we want to give this to RCR, and I was like just dying because, I mean, no offense, but no one in the Midwest is that nice. I mean, up here where show choir's alive and well, so it was just very sweet. We had already kind of had our schedule on a piece of paper saying where the kids needed to be, and flight was like 3 before our performance, but we had to go and watch them. We had to go support, and we sat in the first few rows with some of the flight people, which was awesome. I got to sit next to Kristina, which was great, and I mean, just personally, I was blown away by what I saw. Not just, it just was raw emotion. The choreography was just fantastic. Your kids are awesome dancers. And the vocals, you wouldn't think that they're a new group. I mean, it just was impressive. My kids were blown away. It was such a spark for them. They went into our warm-up, our pre-warm-up, where we talk, and they were just all referencing what they had just saw, which was super cool as a director standing there and just hearing your kids kind of, be like, let's be like them. And thinking to myself, like, this is amazing that they want to be like this group that's been around. This is their 3rd competition in their 1st year. Like, amazing. It was so cool. That day was so special to share with Kristina and get to be with her and see some of the first time making finals. Like, it just was incredible. It was an incredible day.
What were the kids' reaction when they got to make finals, when they heard they were in?
Is that for me or Adam?
That's for you.
Oh, okay. Shock. We were shocked. Um,
There is no shock about it. Those kids were amazing.
that's really kind. We were so excited. I, it was just something that I never would have imagined for them in their first year, and um, it was just such an honor to get to perform again and such an excitement. And um, it was kind of the icing on the cake because we knew that it was our last performance, our last show. And my big thing with them has been from the beginning, what I've said is the minute that it becomes about winning or about the trophy, then they're done. It's over already. They've already lost because that's not how I run things, and that's not what I want them to learn and to take out of it. I want them to learn something more that can take them on further in life, because if the only thing they're doing is learning how to win a trophy, then that's the mentality they'll go into whatever they do after this with. And so it's instead the process and the journey and how they're treating other people and learning the teamwork and things like that. And so I think after their prelim performance, they felt really good about what they had done, and meeting Muscatine was incredible, and they already just felt so wonderful about all of those things that to be announced, to be able to do finals was amazing. I can't even put it into words. It was incredible.
I wish we had a video reaction of that too.
I have their final video reaction of
That was
when they
funny.
were announced third place at the end of finals. I was sitting next to Kristina, and right before they were starting to announce stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get out my phone and start taping because this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be great. And I got so excited doing it. I didn't do a very good job of like. I was like jumping up and down and chanting with the Muscatine kids. They all started chanting "flight, flight, flight." So it's not a really good video, but we'll show it sometime.
Well, and finals was funny because when they announced the placement, because we also had been able to see Muscatine and Prairie, who took first and second. So we hadn't seen any of the other groups, so we genuinely had no idea where we were going to fall or anything. And assuming we're new, assuming we don't know what we're doing, assuming we've never been in finals, they announced sixth and it wasn't us. And everybody was kind of looking around at each other like, oh gosh, did we do so poorly that they just didn't even like put us on there? What just happened?
It's like they didn't realize that there are only 6 groups in finals. So.
We were just like, oh wait, what? Did they mess up? Did they forget about us? And then they announced fifth, and it wasn't us, and it just kept building like that. So they were through the roof. And the other thing, when I was talking about Muscatine too, I really have to just also, I guess, commend the groups who were at the Crystal Cup at Elkhorn South too, because we didn't know what we were getting into at all, and that was the first time that I cried at a competition, because I went and sat down, and my parents who were there with me, the flight parents, were kind of looking around. They were like, Kristina, we almost got upset because we heard these people chanting something about the group, and we thought that people were being mean or something, and then it was that they had made up a flight chant for us. These kids who didn't know my kids, the auditorium was packed, and we were pretty early on, and there were kids in the aisle, and you can hear on the recording of it, the kids who were there from those Nebraska groups were so kind and so encouraging. It was amazing to me to be in a competition setting like that and feel nothing but encouraged and embraced by all of these groups, and that's kind of what we ran into everywhere we went, which was phenomenal, because that's not what I would have expected at all.
And I've got to agree with that sentiment. I've had the pleasure to judge out there a few times this season, and I don't really have much experience with Nebraska show choir since I was in high school, but it is just, those kids out there are so kind, incredibly kind at those competitions. And most competitions are like a friendly place, but there's some times where it gets a little weird, a little cutthroat. That happens sometimes, and it's, not a great thing, but yeah, definitely agree.
Connor, do you have any questions for Kristina?
Why did you name your group Flight? I mean, it's not unusual. It's just a noun, I guess, or a verb. I don't know.
No, that's a good.
Because I'm always curious.
Sure.
Like other groups, like Glenwood's Titan Fever, what inspired that? I honestly don't even know why we named ours Swingers Unlimited. So that's always just one thing that I'm curious about.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think when I was first starting the group, I think I actually had texted Alex and been like, okay, so I'm doing this now, but what do I call them? I have no idea. And I spent probably at least a month running different ideas through my head, and I just couldn't think of anything. And then one day I was thinking about eagles. I don't know. I was thinking about eagles and how crows, when crows are kind of rude to eagles, I guess, and they always are like trying to poke at them and bring them down, and so eagles just soar higher and higher and higher, and they keep circling until they're out of the crow's reach. And I don't know why I was just thinking about that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool metaphor, actually. And then, so I was like, soar, that's kind of a neat word. You can't call a group soar, that's weird. And so I was trying to think of other things like that. And I was like, well, they flight. Wichita is also the air capital of the world, fun fact. So it just fit us really well. We have a big airplane making industry here, so that's kind of how that happened.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought it was just because of the plane industry. I didn't know that there was like a whole nother metaphor attached
No,
to
there was a whole nother thing going on, and me just thinking about eagles.
it. With you, I am not surprised.
I know.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Valerie Mack and her influence on you? Because I know that she was a huge influence in not only in like what you're doing right now, but like just with your life in general.
Oh my gosh, do you want me to cry? Okay.
Um,
So, Valerie Mack, for people who don't know, is just an amazing person and leader in the show choir world and out of it, and runs the Butler Headliners, and just does something with that group that is phenomenal, and kind of you either have to be in it or have met them to understand what she's doing. She teaches so much more than singing and dancing. And when I went into the group and was a dance captain and choreographer there, we started, she and I just bonded, and then I started working for the camp, and I'm super close with her, super close with her family, and she's just really mentored me through all of it, and has been such a blessing to me, because one of the hard things when we were talking about difficult things about the group this year is that thankfully there's so many people that are only a call or a text away, but that's really different than having somebody who can just drive over to your house and help you plan or analyze or just talk things out. I don't have any of that here, and she's somebody who I can do that with, and so she really encouraged me in this journey, and the Headliners have kind of adopted Flight as their little siblings, and yeah, she's come in and helped choreograph some things and talk to the kids about life lessons, and she's definitely a person that I strive to emulate in this group, because like I said, she just teaches way more than the singing and dancing aspect, and that's a lot of what I want to do too.
Tell us about, this is a little bit off topic, but tell us about what it's like teaching fifth graders every day.
It is a mess. It is an actual mess to teach fifth graders. Yeah, if you don't follow me on Twitter or Facebook or
You should.
You should, just for the fifth grade quotes. Fifth grade is such an interesting age, and they're so weird. And I obviously love them a lot, but they're really fun. One of my fifth graders is the self-proclaimed mascot of Flight this year. He's a lot of fun. and it's always something new. It's constant. It's like being a director and a mother and a counselor and a teacher and anything else you could possibly name for 8 hours, 5 days a week.
What are some of your favorite fifth grade moments?
Thanks, Obama.
That was great this week. People who have no idea what we're talking about, they had a creative writing assignment about what didn't happen on your spring break. And this one kid starts his off, and I'm reading it, and it says, on my spring break, I was going to go on a space adventure or something like that, and I didn't get to because space was shut down by Obama. So you never know where they get stuff. Favorite fifth grade moments? Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. A couple years ago, I had a kid that learned that the world was round. He had no idea because he'd only ever looked at maps and wouldn't believe me, even though I showed him a globe. That was fun.
That's a very interesting thing to have to teach someone.
Mm-hmm. My class this year, they're really big pranksters. And so Halloween maybe, or maybe just some random day, I don't even know. I walk in and I notice that everybody is just kind of staring at me, and they keep looking at me, and they're being uncharacteristically quiet. And finally I moved my chair to sit down at my desk to take attendance, and there is a head on my chair. One of my girls has a mannequin head, and it just the head just staring at me. So they'll try to pull stuff like that all the time. I'm trying to think if I can think of any other good ones. Somebody, if you think of any of my good fifth grade stories, text me because I can't think of them right now. But there's a ton. They're great.
I was going to ask you the same question about flight. What are some of your favorite flight moments, and like funny ones or like heartfelt ones? Because I know you guys had a lot of like, very heartfelt moments this year. So
yeah. Well, favorite moments of flight. There's just so many all the time. From the goofy aspect of it, our motto is "Don't be shy, have a donut."
a donut.
Have a donut. And they kind of took that and ran with it. Like, we would always take donuts, bags of donuts, to all the groups who made finals when we went places, and like says it on their shirts and stuff. And that kind of, oddly enough, encompasses the group quite well. They like to eat a lot, number one. That's fun. We eat donuts and other things all the time. They're super awkward and ridiculous. I think our very first, it might have been our retreat in August, when they were just getting to know each other, and mind you, these kids have no idea who the other kids are because they're all from different schools. We were doing like an around the room answer the question thing, and one of them was, do your favorite dance move. And you'd expect people to do like a pivot turn or a box step or something. And all chaos broke loose, and everybody just started pretty much doing the most awkward dance move they could possibly think of. There were kids rolling on the floor. There were kids acting like cats. There were kids doing everything you could imagine. So we did a car wash and had kids dressed up on our main street. Kids were wearing morph suits, and one was dressed like a hot dog. And again, that's like the very first month of them knowing each other, and that's really who they are at heart. I love them. But also, the other side of it is, I just got sent a good fifth grade moment. The other side of it is that they have collectively the biggest heart of anybody that I know, such as making people break-a-leg gifts, and
Nice.
the camaraderie that happened within that group and the way that they were there for each other. And of course, we had people who went through really hard stuff this year, and the group was just there for them like that. And yeah, they're just really, really sweet, wonderful kids.
If you had to give advice to a director that was starting show choir in a brand new market where it didn't exist, like let's say like Garden City or Dodge City or somewhere that's in state, or it could apply to out of state, but what advice would you give based on what you've been through this year?
Good luck and hold tight. No, I'm kidding. Really though, that's a huge part of it. But don't give up, even when things are seeming like they might not work out, because you just need to keep focused on the end goal and what you're trying to do that's bigger than just one show. And don't say no to things. Be open-minded and go learn stuff, watch things, talk to people. Sometimes that's not my biggest strength because I don't like to feel like I'm bothering people or getting in the way. And but people are so helpful and so kind, and there's just so much to learn, especially when you didn't get the privilege of growing up in that world and having that background knowledge. So yeah, the perseverance has to be so strong, and your desire for that has to be so strong, especially somewhere where it doesn't exist, because you're going to run into troubles and adversity, and you just have to know that you're in the right place for the right time, and you just keep going with it.
I just want to point out that in my computer desk, which is my dresser, I found.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. I have a donut shirt. Connor, do you have any other questions, or Adam, or anybody out there on Twitter? If you guys have questions, let us know.
Alex Wampler, he was talking to me earlier, and usual question: do you have any advice for people who are trying to get into show choir career, or any ways to get your name out there?
I think that it's very similar to what I've heard other people say on this show too, of get as much experience as you can, and that might be doing some really obscure, off-the-chart things, but you're still learning that way. I would really suggest, seeing if you can shadow people or go watch and actually be there aside from just videos, because that's something that I didn't really get to do until recent years, and I think it would have been invaluable growing up and doing things at a much younger age.
What are some things, because I know you've been to Marysville to go watch groups when you had never really seen a lot of show choir before. That was fun watching you watch show choir, like watching you watch Swingers Unlimited or Twinsburg or Fairfield for the first time. That was really fun to have you up in the booth. But you've seen Marysville and Burroughs. Like, what are some things that you learned just from being in the audience and watching those competitions?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with that. I'd say one of the big things is that there's not necessarily a right way, and I wasn't necessarily ready for that. There's certain things, obviously, like vocal sound and correct dynamics and diction and like being in tune and obvious stuff like that. But other than that, it's just so varied. And that's what always resonates with me more, is when you can tell that the group has camaraderie off the stage, and that the heart comes through that more. So I think I just learned a lot about, there's so many different styles and there's so many different interpretations, and I think even from a judging perspective, that's really interesting, and why things fall differently all the time is because people just have different aspects that they value.
Did you notice? Did you notice regional differences then from, I mean, did you clearly see things? Because you said before you kind of, well, here they value this, and here, are there some that you could say that you can remember?
Ooh, I mean, I just think on a generalized scale, like the Nebraska groups that we saw tended to be, like if you were comparing Nebraska groups to Nebraska groups versus Nebraska groups to Iowa groups, I think you can kind of tell by state. I don't know that I'm necessarily knowledgeable enough to know exactly what those differences are, but you could tell that the Nebraska groups were all kind of the same, and we were pretty different from that. Not necessarily in a bad way, but we just hadn't caught on to what's going to score well there. And then you go to Iowa, and some of those notes are different, not in a bad way, but just in a, they kind of all have the same thing because they all compete against each other, and so they have the generalized what's going on in that region. Yeah, but it was interesting. It was really interesting to see the differences between different states.
It's cool. We've got one tweet that just came in from Walker Encore, which is a mixed show choir from Jasper, Alabama. They tweeted, "Completely in love with Show Choir Live tonight. We relate so much with Flight by being a first-year competitive show choir."
Yay!
Shout out to Walker.
Hey, Jasper. Yeah.
We get it. We get it.
All right, well, it is 9 p.m. on the dot, so I'm going to get into my favorite part of the show, which is the lightning round. We put 60 seconds on a clock that does not exist, that we do not monitor. And you try to answer as many of these questions as fast as you can.
Okay.
And we'll just see how it goes. There's a little bit of trivia in here, too.
Oh, no. Okay.
Just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Lightning round with Kristina Sims, and away we go. If you could turn any food into a show choir dress, what would it be?
A watermelon.
Ooh, what's the most ambitious meal you've ever cooked?
Oh gosh. Last night I made a pizza crust out of cauliflower.
What?
I know.
That's awesome. What's the furthest away you've ever traveled from home?
Europe.
What's the first thing people notice about you?
She's beautiful.
Who said that? Who's back there?
First thing you'll notice about me, either that I'm nice or that I'm really quirky.
What's your favorite sea creature?
Otters, do they count?
Yeah, there's sea otter. That's a thing. What's your favorite food?
Chips.
What's chips? Just chips. What's the best burger joint in Kansas?
Freddy's, duh, you know that.
That was a trick question.
Okay.
It's clearly Freddy's.
Clearly.
What's Wichita's best kept secret?
The troll.
What? Okay, explain.
We have a troll. You haven't met the troll. Eric's met the troll.
I don't know
Maybe next time you can meet the troll. He's hiding under. There's a troll, and he hides in a little thing downtown.
Okay. All right. Correct. Say you have. Okay. Oh, okay. Say you have to break into a casino in the middle of the night to steal millions of dollars. Would you enter the casino via A, tunnel, B, helicopter, C, smooth entrance like a casual customer, or D, other?
Probably other.
Sorry, the correct answer is B, helicopter. Kansas was named after the Kansa tribe that lived in the area. What did Kansa mean in their native language?
Prairie?
People of the wind. We also would accept people of the south wind. What year did Kansas... I'm like Alex Trebek all of a sudden. What year did Kansas join the United States?
Oh no, I should know this and I don't. I don't know.
1861. What's your...
I was going to go 63. I should have guessed.
All right, last one. What's your favorite thing in New York City?
Everything. My favorite thing is probably That there's coffee everywhere? That's a bad answer. That's not my favorite. I don't know. People.
There is coffee
I
everywhere.
love walking everywhere. That might be one of my favorite things.
What? Hello, Mr. Burger. How are you today?
I decided to put on my burger costume because she was talking about the flight kids wearing giant hot dog costumes. So I'm a giant hamburger.
What's the hamburger's name?
I don't have a name. Sesame.
Sesame.
Sesame hamburger.
Kristina, do you know what number President Herbert Hoover was? That's your last question.
Oh, okay.
Says the hamburger.
Says the hamburger. I made my kids memorize all the presidents last year, and I should have done it with them.
He was the 31st president of the United States and from West Branch, Iowa. And they competed at Cedar Rapids Jefferson. Just letting you know.
There you go.
Thanks for
it was National Iowa Appreciation Day earlier this week, so.
Yeah.
It was Iowa Appreciation
Thanks,
Day.
Alex Hall, for that.
Hey, you're welcome. This is getting some interesting tweets, Adam the Burger. Adam, if you were a burger and you were a show choir choreographer, what are some moves that you might try to incorporate into your?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Mr. Alex Hall. I'd probably do something like a little shoot burger, but not here, like out.
Yeah,
And then
it has to be
Out shoot burger, of course.
something like that.
Yeah, a little
You know?
train over. If you had a move that was named the Whopper, what would the move be?
The Whopper, is it? Oh, let me see here. Probably like what?
Yes, correct. We will accept the Whopper. Yep. So now we have two official Show Choir Live moves. One is Salmon Magic. The Whopper. I'm into it. I think you did a great job, Adam. I think you have a future as a choreographer. I mean, I know most people think that you already are a choreographer, but I think his iPad froze, so he's toast. Connor, do you have any more questions?
I don't know. Adam already got my other one about what do you think of the other regional groups, but I think that's about it.
Connor, what are you going to be up to before you guys go to Show Choir Nationals? Are you in any other activities in school?
Yeah, track. That's what I did most of spring break. It snowed more than it should have during practice.
What events are you in?
I mostly do hurdles and pole vault. I was pole vaulting today, actually.
Pole vaulting?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember what tooth. I think it's this tooth. Last year, at the freshman sophomore meet, I went over the bar that you go over, but I had hit it, and when I landed, it landed on my face, and it like cut my tooth in half.
Oh my gosh, dude!
You were probably at the camp when I was showing the picture, I think.
Yeah. We had like bring your favorite picture to rehearsal day. The Burger is back. Welcome back, Burger.
Thank you. I've been having some technical difficulties because I think we have like bad wind right now.
Yeah, that's a thing. Let's talk about next week. Next week, Adam and I will be somewhere in America.
We're going to record this for everyone. This is going to be the next episode of Show Choir Live is going to be amazing.
We're going to try to put together some kind of video of our adventure. The schedule would be for us to be in Yellowstone 1 week from today. However, the schedule is totally, subject to change and subject to storm chasing.
Yes, sir.
And let me tell you, there's going to be some chances coming up. There's possibility of a Friday system and maybe even Thursday this week. And then I know who's calling you right now, Kristina, by the way. He just called me, and I
ignored it.
Yes.
I will give my left tomato piece to Storm Chase. I am just jonesing for some good storm chasing.
Hey, we've got
come to Kansas, make a storm happen here, and then you can see the Troll, which is probably one of those sites that you really need to put up there with Yellowstone.
Okay.
We're going to Yellowstone, Bryce Canyon, Antelope Canyon, and the Wichita Troll.
And the Corn Palace.
And the Corn Palace. We will be at the Corn Palace. You know what we should do? We should see if we can get the Mitchell kids to do a flash mob with us at the Corn Palace.
Yeah!
That's awesome.
So if anybody's from Mitchell out there, we will be there between Saturday and Sunday this week.
Just generalized.
Yeah. So
Just
come
camp outside the Corn Palace. Wait for us. We'll be there.
We'll be here. We'll be there. Adam will be wearing a hamburger. So
Yeah.
you'll know him by the giant hamburger. All right. Also, I am going to activate another round of Show Choir Live T-shirts very soon. So be looking for that on Twitter. I'll post it on Twitter and Facebook, and it will be the same link. Oh, look at you representing. Nice. And it's been cool to see, like, as people have been getting the shirts in the mail, like, texting and tweeting us and saying, yo, we got your shirt. And it's just cool. So thank you guys who have been supporting us that way. It does help a lot. And yeah, so next week there won't be a Sunday show, but just keep watching our Twitter feed, starting on Saturday, because I'm sure, we'll be tweeting some videos and stuff like that as we kind of cut our way west or wherever the heck we're going.
I think you do Salmon Magic and the Whopper at every big stop that you make, and then just turn it into a big compilation.
This is why we're friends with you, Kristina.
Because I have an ability to put the Whopper and Salmon Magic together. What are you going to do?
Yes. So that's what we'll do. We'll do Salmon Magic and Whopper everywhere. So that's all the announcements I have. Do you guys have anything else?
I'm just a juicy hamburger. Just excited about life.
I hope that someone screenshots right there. Yeah,
Should I give it a good screenshot opportunity?
Yeah, 3, 2.
There we go. Screenshot.
Good.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. New profile picture for Show Choir Live.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to our Twitter account. We'll have a lot of goofy stuff coming up in the next week. And otherwise, we will see you guys.
Hey, Alex, you didn't ask what I'm doing next weekend.
What are you doing next weekend?
I'll tell you. Junior flight's starting. Surprise!
Oh.
We have a mini group, and they start on Friday.
It's 6th through 8th graders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
if there's anybody that happens to be watching this eventually from the Wichita area, how would they find out more information about flight or mini flight?
You can email us at ictshowchoir@gmail.com or find us on Facebook or Twitter under ICT Flight and give us a little like and we'll give you some information.
And just one more thing, too. I know you said that a lot of your kids have a lot of activities going on in their lives, and this is just one other little thing that they can do to be a part of. If anyone really is watching from your area, you need to be a part of this group. Like, this is awesome. It needs to be, like, a main thing you do because it is so great. Just saying.
We have so much fun.
And we're going to post a link to their show from Cedar Rapids, Jefferson, which I meant to open the show with. Didn't get that chance, but I'm going to tweet a link to their show this year so you guys can check it out. I will also especially recommend the ballad is one of the coolest ballads of the year to me. I loved it.
I bawled my eyes out next to Kristina. I started grabbing her leg.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Patrick says, what songs would you choose in a show featuring a burger, Adam? So that will be our road trip show design.
We'll come up with a Burger King show. Prospect, look out for that for next year.
Prospect 16, burger time.
No, good burger.
Good burger.
Yeah. Good burger.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for for tuning in tonight. We will see you in 2 weeks following the John Burroughs competition. We'll be live from Burbank, California, which is crazy to think
Which
about.
is your new home.
My new home. So we will see you then. We'll see you in California. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Connor, for coming on. I'm sorry
Thanks.
I couldn't get your video on, but it's getting a lot of love on Twitter, so that's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Thanks, Kristina. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I know you didn't want to, but I'm glad we could coerce you into it.
Let's tell everybody that.
Yeah. So we're going to close up. See you guys in California from Chicago, Illinois for the very last time here. From Iowa City, Iowa, Marysville, Ohio, and Wichita, Kansas. We'll see you guys next week. Burger time, y'all.
Burger time, folks. Burger time.